Does quantum physics lead to atheism? Or does quantum physics support atheism? Let us discuss this question today. Quantum physics is one of the most successful theories of science. In everything we see in the world, success depends on practical results. Quantum physics is regarded as a highly successful theory because it has spectacular practical results. There are many quantum physicists we can talk about, but I would like to use the life of Paul Dirac as a reference point in this discussion. Take Dirac's equation, for example. It predicted the existence of antiparticle to electron, and the discovery of anti-electron or positron is one of the greatest achievements in science. You might ask, so what? Dirac's equation or Dirac's quantum theory led to the discovery of positrons, so how does that help? The discovery of positron has produced astronomical benefits to human society. Let me give you a few examples. Positron emission tomography scan was invented based on Dirac's theory. PET scans are now diagnosing diseases at cellular level. Then nanotechnology. It manipulates matter at the level of atoms and molecules. Nanotechnology gives ability to see and to control individual atoms and molecules. Promising technologies like delivering chemotherapy to individual cancer cells are emerging due to advances in the nanotechnology. Then particle accelerators. Recently, CERN in Geneva discovered Higgs boson using Large Hadron Collider. These particle accelerators are the largest machines human beings ever built. Quantum physics form the foundation of these particle accelerators. Quantum mechanics has revolutionized the concept of space-time and thereby space travel. A new generation of spaceships and space stations are being built. So quantum mechanics is everywhere, from medical scans to particle accelerators to supercomputers to spaceships. So success makes friends. Many atheists are now making the claim quantum physics support atheism. Quantum mechanics rule out the existence of God. Is that true? So let us see. Does quantum physics support atheism or theism? Quantum physicists asked questions about the existence of God. For example, Paul Dirac was one of the founding fathers of quantum theory. In 1971, Dirac said, "The question, is there a God, is one of the most important questions in contemporary physics." Quantum physics presented a challenge to the deterministic nature of classical physics. Newton introduced a mechanical view of universe. The universe is a giant machine with nuts and cogwheels. If you know how those nuts and cogwheels turning, you can predict everything about the machine. That view of the universe led to materialism, reductionism, and determinism. Quantum physics threatened this view of the world. Heisenberg's uncertainty principle, for example, made people feel that you cannot be certain about everything in the world. Quantum physics brought back a sense of indeterminism into people's consciousness that threatened many atheistic ideologies. Atheism embraced scientific materialism. Everything can be reduced to atoms and molecules. Karl Marx, for example, was an atheist. His communist ideology was dependent on dialectical materialism. Karl Marx based his communism on godless materialism, so-called scientific materialism proposed by people like Ludwig Buchner and Ludwig Feuerbach. Communists were horrified by quantum physics. For example, take Paul Dirac's textbook. He wrote a textbook called Principles of Quantum Mechanics, and it was published by Soviet publishing house in Russian language in 1932. The communists put a disclaimer in the preface. At the very beginning of the book, they wrote these words, I quote, Paul Dirac makes some philosophical and methodological generalizations that contradicts the only truly scientific method of cognition, dialectical materialism. The atheists in Moscow did not like quantum physics. Why? Because the indeterminism brought by quantum physics, it threatened the philosophies like Marxism, which were built on atheism as foundation. Then we need to talk about the mathematical nature of quantum physics. Quantum mechanics brought very complex mathematics into physics. Physicist Neil Turok said these words, I quote, as strange as it is, quantum theory has become the most successful, powerful, and accurately tested scientific theory of all time. It represents a triumph of abstract mathematical reasoning. Quantum theory is a triumph of abstract mathematical reasoning. The highly mathematical nature of quantum physics led many physicists to think of God. For example, in 1963 edition of Scientific American, Paul Dirac wrote an article entitled The Evolution of the Physicist's Picture of Nature. In that edition, he wrote these words, I quote, it seems to be one of the fundamental features of nature that fundamental physical laws are described in terms of mathematical theory of great beauty and power, needing quite a high standard of mathematics for one to understand it. One could perhaps describe the situation by saying that God is a mathematician of a very high order, and he used very advanced mathematics in constructing the universe. You do mathematics and you make predictions and they lead to discovery. It is called principle of plenitude. This principle works. Einstein predicted the existence of photons. Pauli predicted the existence of neutrinos. Rutherford predicted the existence of neutrons, and Dirac predicted the existence of positrons. And all those predictions came true, resulting in the discovery of hitherto unknown particles. This is the power of mathematics. Until Einstein used non-Euclidean geometry as the foundation of his general theory of relativity, non-Euclidean mathematics was considered as a figment of imagination. Before Heisenberg used non-commutative algebra in quantum mechanics, this type of algebra was laughed off as a fiction of the mind. But slowly, people realized that those mathematics is real, not just mental, artificial constructs. People who believed in God also believed in the external reality of mathematics outside the human mind. But atheists found it difficult to accept the reality of mathematics outside human mind. Some atheists like Roger Penrose believed in the external reality of mathematics. But most atheists, they reject the notion that mathematics have a reality of their own because that threatens their worldview. If you accept the existence of mathematics outside human mind, then you are conceding that there is intelligence outside human mind. Then you have to accept the existence of God, because God is an intelligent being outside human mind. Mathematics is real yet immaterial. God is real and yet immaterial. Some people said mathematics is a discovery, but some people said it is only an invention. Quantum physicists like Paul Dirac saw mathematics as discovery, not just an invention. One day, Paul Dirac was taking lessons in Russian language from a teacher named Lydia Jackson. This lady, she told him, Mr. Dirac, I think mathematics was just a human invention. Dirac did not agree with her opinion. He told her, mathematics always existed, only to be discovered by human mind. Then she asked him, Mr. Dirac, doesn't that mean that it was created by God? Dirac smiled and agreed with her. So Paul Dirac said, mathematics always existed, only to be discovered by humans. And she asked him, Mr. Dirac, doesn't that mean that it was created by God? That is a very legitimate question. Because once you accept that mathematics is intelligence, mathematics has its own existence, intelligence has its own existence, intelligence needs an intelligent mind, mathematics is intelligence, mathematics needs a mind. Physicist Dr. Max Tegmark said, universe is a textbook of mathematics. A textbook needs another. Universe is mathematics. So universe is intelligence. It is irrational to say that intelligence can come out of unintelligent causes. It is more rational to say that intelligence comes out of intelligent mind, in this case, the mind of God. The mathematical nature of quantum physics made physicists like Dirac to think of God, not atheism. Dirac said, I quote earlier, one could perhaps describe the situation by saying that God is a mathematician of a very high order and he used very advanced mathematics in constructing the universe. So you see, these great mathematicians and quantum physicists, they were led to believe in God, not atheism. Quantum physics is like a synchronization of human mind and the universe. It is like iPhone and iMac. If you connect an iPhone with an iMac, they recognize each other because they run on iOS software made by same designers at Apple computers. In the same way, human mind is syncing with the universe because both can understand each other through the software called mathematics. You don't say, iPhone born out of blind processes of matter, space and time. iMac was born out of blind processes of matter, space and time. It is just chance that we can connect them and make them sync with each other. In the same way, there is no creator. The universe came out by itself through blind processes. Our mind had no creator. It born out of blind imitations over millions of years. It's just a chance. Folks, that is foolishness. It is more reasonable to say, just like iPhone and iMac were designed by same engineers at Apple company, universe and human mind were created by the same creator who is God. So the highly complex mathematical nature of quantum physics, they point us to God, not atheism. You find a watch, you pick it up, it's a beautiful watch. You are more curious. You open the watch, it is so beautiful even inside. Quantum physics revealed the intrinsic and extrinsic beauty of the universe. Atheism says universe is an accident. Human beings are an accident. The capacity to appreciate the beauty in the universe is also an accident. That is not a satisfactory answer. Universe is beautiful because it has a creator with a taste for art. That explanation is more satisfactory and fulfilling. Then the cosmology, the founders of modern science believed in a universe with a beginning. Isaac Newton was a Christian and he believed in the universe with a beginning. But as scientific materialism took over academia, more people believed in a universe with no beginning. At the beginning of the 20th century, many physicists and astronomers believed in static universe with no beginning, no end. Fred Hoyle was an atheist. He said, universe has no beginning. There is no creator. Even Einstein believed in the static universe. Quantum physics revolutionized cosmology. from black holes to wormholes, international space stations, the Hubble telescope, and then there is these missions to Mars. Human beings are scaling the silent endless frontiers of space. Quantum physics also transformed our understanding of cosmogenesis, the birth of the universe. Dirac's equation predicted the existence of positron and of antimatter. Electron has positron. Matter has antimatter. When electron meets a positron, they destroy each other into energy. When matter meets antimatter, they destroy each other into energy. A universe with equal amounts of matter and antimatter. Because matter and antimatter, they annihilate each other. Some physicists saw creation ex nihilo in this phenomenon. Creation ex nihilo, a universe created out of nothing. As we read in Genesis chapter 1, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. When Dirac was working at Princeton University's Institutes for Advanced Study, he befriended Georges Lemaître, a Belgian priest and astrophysicist. Paul Dirac meeting Georges Lemaître, quantum physics, meeting cosmology here. Lemaître believed in the universe created by God. It has a beginning. He proposed a Big Bang theory of the origin of the universe. He predicted the expansion of the universe and derived Hubble's law and Hubble's constant. During those years, some astronomers were atheists and they believed in the eternal universe. Here comes a Catholic priest contradicting them and proposing the expansion of the universe. But even Einstein became furious at the ideas of Lemaître and Friedman. He introduced a cosmological constant to make his universe a static structure. Later, he regretted it as the biggest blunder in his life, the dumbest mistake in his life. So quantum physics led to the discovery of antimatter and finally a universe with a beginning. In 1964, cosmic microwave background radiation was discovered by Arno Penzias and Robert Wilson. And in 1978, they both were awarded Nobel Prize in Physics for this discovery. Arno Penzias stated to New York Times on March 12, 1978, I quote, "The best data we have concerning the Big Bang are exactly what I would have predicted had I nothing to go on but 5 books of Moses, the Psalms, the Bible as a whole." Yeah, we made this great discovery that universe has a beginning, but that is already in the Bible. I just discovered what the Bible already states in plain language. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. So quantum physics unveiled a universe with a beginning. It told us what is already written in the Bible. The cosmology of quantum physics is more consistent with Christian worldview than atheism that proposed a universe with no beginning. United States recruited Robert Oppenheimer to lead Manhattan Project to produce atom bomb. Hitler drafted Werner Heisenberg to run his nuclear weapons program. The world saw the destructive power of atom when Hiroshima and Nagasaki, the 2 Japanese cities, were razed by nuclear weapons on August 6 and 9, 1945. Robert Oppenheimer told President Truman, "I feel I have blood on my hands." The quantum physicists were happy when they saw their science put to good use, but were horrified when they saw it being used to make weapons of mass destruction. Paul Dirac loved Marxism, but he was also shocked by what he saw in atheist nations, communist nations, Lenin, Mao, Pol Pot, Kim Jong, Castro, Ceausescu. They propagated the death of God on billboards. They made atheism the official policy of their governments. And they were ruling 1/3 of the world. They were killing millions and millions of people on the altars of atheism and communism. If you believe in God, you are dead. The world had seen atheists killing millions of people in communist nations. Quantum physics cannot avoid such ethical questions. Many quantum physicists started to search for a moral framework. For example, Paul Dirac, he read Dostoevsky's Crime and Punishment. Dostoevsky exposed the sickness of self-sufficient Russian society and its need for regeneration through rediscovery of its roots in Christian faith. Then the fundamental nature of universe. Atheists believe in materialism. They rely on empiricism. They say, if you want me to believe in something, tell me its molecular structure. Give me its atomic formula. I believe in water. I can show you it is made up of 2 hydrogen atoms and 1 oxygen atom. If it does not have atomic structure, I don't believe in it. God has no atomic structure, so I don't believe in it. That is their argument. Jesus said God is a spirit. God has no atomic structure. He is a spiritual being. Quantum physics is taking us to a spiritual nature of the universe. What is the fundamental nature of reality? The Greeks believed in earth, water, fire, and air. Classical physics told us fundamental nature of the universe is atoms. Recently, we went much deeper. The particles in the atom, then the particles within the particles. All kinds of such subatomic particles were discovered in the last few decades. Quantum field theory states that it is not even subatomic particles which are the foundation of reality, but an energy field. All these particles and subatomic particles, they are arising from this one invisible energy field. So the fundamental nature of the universe is invisible, immaterial. It is not made up of atoms. It is made up of that invisible, immaterial energy. That view takes us nearer to God. God is an invisible, immaterial, spiritual being. The universe at the foundational level is an invisible energy field. In that respect, it resembles the nature of God. The quantum energy field is transforming into these molecules and atoms and different types of objects we can see and feel. In the Christian worldview, we tell the same thing. God is the Spirit who has taken a human form in Lord Jesus Christ. In that way, quantum physics is nearer to Christian faith than atheism. Then let us talk about the longings of the heart. Quantum physicists are also human beings. They have these emotions and feelings. If we read their biographies, for example, Paul Dirac, how he craved for love and affection from his father. Quantum physics cannot give that emotional fulfillment to human beings. You know, in the United States today, opioid epidemic is exploding. Millions of people are turning to drugs for fulfillment, but it is not getting to them. They don't have fulfillment. Materialism cannot satisfy the longings of our hearts. James Joyce said these words, I quote, "The true and the beautiful are akin. Truth is beheld by the intellect, which is appeased by the most satisfying relations of the intelligible. Beauty is beheld by the imagination, which is appeased by the most satisfying relations of the sensible." Truth and beauty, they came together in quantum physics, but they are still imperfect. God is the perfect embodiment of truth and perfect manifestation of beauty. The Christian gospel was expressed in very deeply emotional terms. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish but have everlasting life. For God so loved the world, God who came to this world in the humanity of Lord Jesus Christ and died on the cross for your sins and my sins and raised from the dead to give us eternal hope. Scientific materialism was born through the work of Ludwig Buchner, a German thinker. He said these words, I quote, "We are like dogs on a treadmill. The red-hot irons of life goad us to unceasing action on the ever-turning yet motionless wheel, to a restless and aimless advance, until at length we sink exhausted into the grave we have dug." Scientific materialism, there is nothing scientific about it. It is a godless philosophy of life which is masquerading as science. Science without God, or anything without God, lead us to such despair. We are like dogs on a treadmill. The red-hot irons of life goad us to unceasing action on the ever-turning yet motionless wheel, to a restless and aimless advance, until at length we sink exhausted into the grave we have dug. So today we have seen the question, does quantum physics lead to atheism? The answer is no. The highly mathematical nature of quantum physics, its indeterminism, its ontology, its cosmological implications, its moral implications, the fundamental nature of universe it discovered before us, they all point us to a creator, a God.